flat tire. This time on the turbo trainer. I got a flat tire on the turbo trainer. There was at least one patch on this inner tube and it didn't hold for some reason. So today I'm going to show you two types of patches that don't work. One of these doesn't work at all, in my opinion, and the other isn't very good. And I went back to the old method with the old inner tube. I will tell you how to do it. You're gonna need the inner tube. I will tell you what kind of inner tube. This is important, what kind of inner tube you're using. Of course, you're gonna need a glue and sandpaper. Let's remove this one and then I will show you exactly how do we do it. Oh, sorry, the scissors and something to write on your tube. First thing first, guys, when you remove the inner tube, just hold it as if it was inside. I mean, don't change it, don't do anything with it, because when you put the wheel back, it was like this. I'm gonna pump the inner tube, find the hole. Let's say the hole will be here. Then you can match the inner tube again to the wheel, and then you know that here you should be looking for some problem, maybe a thorn. And if you don't remove a thorn, you will take a new inner tube, put it inside and get a flat again. So irritating, and it costs a lot of money when you do it a couple of times. So inner tubes are not very cheap. So first thing you should do, pump it, check it, match, okay, remove the thorn, and then we can proceed with the patch. All right, I've pumped my inner tube so that I can hear the air coming out of it, and it does come out. So here is the problem. The problem is just around the valve. Such a problem, the most often cause of this problem is the drilling in the rim. I don't think DD Swiss have this problem because it is super high quality. We're gonna check it out in a second. But very often the rims are drilled, but the hole has some edges which are sharp, and they can cut your inner tube when you use higher pressure. So I'm gonna have to fix this place, but first off, let's check the wheel and the rim. Okay, I'm just looking at the rim. It's just fine. It is fine, no problem here. You can see some edges, but these edges are the edges of the tape, tape which is glued already to the rim. It's tubeless, ready. And the rim itself doesn't have any problem. When I look at the hole here, it's like 10 millimeters from the valve. So when I try to match it, it would be somewhere here. Impossible for the rim here to make the hole in the inner tube. So it must be a problem with the quality of that inner tube. It's a shame that it's not one of these inner tubes which have the patch on it, because I would show you what's the problem with the patch. The inner tube will stretch differently than the patch, and then the patch will just lose the air slowly. It will be slow leak usually, but all of the patches I have, almost, if not all, didn't work. So two types of patches, two brands I bought. These are the KLS. Maybe you are using it in Europe, in Slovakia, Czech Republic. Cheap, quite cheap, $2. This set kind of works, and after some days the wheel quite often, in most of the cases, loses the air. And then the worst ones I ever had is Topic flypaper. These are actually the stickers, so these are glueless patches. Very nice. Really, when you take the patch, there's no patch here anymore. You just take the patch like a sticker. It feels like very stretchy and thin, and you glue it to the rim. You hold it there for a while, and then you can pump the tire. It never worked. It worked maybe for 1 or 2 days, and then I would lose the air. So these are the patches which didn't work. I'm keeping the glue from these KLS, and one other thing, on some patches, on some patch kits, instead of sandpaper, we are getting some metal thing, scratchy thing. It doesn't work. The real sandpaper is cheaper, lighter, better, and it will make so many little scratches on the inner tube, and then it will be easier for two surfaces of your patch and the inner tube to stick together. So use sandpaper. This is step 2. Step 1 was removing the inner tube and matching it with the wheel, and then you know where to look for the problem in the wheels. So I know already there's no problem with the wheel or the rim, it is the inner tube problem. Step 2, mark the hole on the inner tube. Very important, because it will help you to center your patch, and then you will know also exactly how much glue to use. As you can see, I went far away with my marker, because now when I'm going to be using the sandpaper, some of it will be removed. So I will still be able to see where the hole is. Now do this with the sandpaper in different directions. So this direction, that direction, so that my patch, which is also made from the inner tube, will adhere nicely to my inner tube. Can you see the difference between the matte and the shiny surface? That's it. This one will be beautiful, and you won't be able to do this with your inner tube if you had the metal thing. So use sandpaper. The problem here is that we have this joint here. It will make the work for our patch more difficult to adhere. That's why I try to remove the excess here. Now I'm going to cut the patch and to do the same with the sandpaper on the patch. And here are my patches. I can make hundreds of patches out of this old ultralight inner tube. Now, why is it important to use ultralight or some thin inner tube? Because if I was to use much thicker inner tube for the patches than the inner tube I'm trying to fix, it wouldn't be stretching in the same manner as the inner tube, and so finally I would lose the air, and that would be slow leak as well. That's the problem with some of the original patches. That's why my old ultralight inner tube from my Nini is great for this job. I'm gonna cut the patch and prepare it for gluing it. My patch is ready. As you may know, from the inside of the inner tube there is some powder there, so I'm gonna use this surface in order to glue it right there, and this one I'll be working on it with the sandpaper. I decided to cut out another patch because there was a joint also like this one on that one, so now I have the one without it. And I forgot to tell you that you're gonna need something for degreasing both surfaces so that they will be perfect for putting the glue on. In the meanwhile, prepare your tire and the wheel for putting the inner tube in, so that it will all go very quickly while we are gluing both surfaces. I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on this surface, then we wait until it evaporates a little bit, and then we're gonna squeeze it. You can use special tools for squeezing. I'm gonna simply stand on it for 2 minutes. A little bit larger surface here with the glue than your patch, but not too much. You don't want to glue the inner tube to the tire. And then we wait a little bit. We want to have those surfaces a little bit matte, not that shiny. And the glue will be very, very sticky. I think we're ready. And yes, I'm simply standing on it right now. I just put the inner tube, which I use for cutting out the patches, over it so that it won't stick to my my sock. But don't rush here. It's gonna take some time, maybe 2 minutes right now. It's a very important moment now. When we have everything clean and degreased and matted very, very well, now we don't want to rush the process because then we have another step that we need to make. I'm still standing on it, just squeezing it well. And the next step, and that's the last before I ride the bike, is that I'm gonna put the inner tube into the wheel, pumping up just a little bit, just about 1 bar, let's say, because I want my inner tube be squeezed against the tire, but I don't want to have too much pressure inside the inner tube, and I will let the wheel to stay overnight, and then the next day I'm gonna put those 1.6 bars I wanted, let's say, and it should work with no patches. Let's do this. It's looking good. My wheel is ready. Not too much pressure, and this wheel will stay overnight. Tomorrow I'm gonna pump it to 1.6 bars and we're gonna be good to go.